everyone, welcome back to SportsKhabri and Candid Football Conversations. Well, there's been a bit of development around the whole Asian game scene. We've been told that there's a 22-man list that's been put out, and there are some notable players who haven't made this list. Sunil Chhetri, Gurpreet Sandhu, Sandesh, Jhingan, all three haven't made the list, and it's created quite a bit of buzz in the last day or so. Arunava, your first thoughts on this?
Well, Rahul, it's a very interesting situation, and it seems to be another chapter added to the saga of is the Indian men's football team as the under-23s are going to the Asian Games or not. That question has now been answered with the positive, with the clearance of the government. The draw has now been done. We know who we're going to face in China, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. And then the discussion, of course, started is what did the government say to, what did the AFF say to the government to get the clearance of the team to go into this competition? And now it looks like that one of the things that they said to them is that we will want Gurpreet, Sandesh, and Sunil to go. There seems to be also a point which I've heard is that initially the three were not very fond of it, or rather reluctant to go. Now they seem to be interested to go, but the names have not been given to the Asian Games organizers, which means that a 22-player list is there, which is the who is who of an AFF under 24. And I have to explain why under 24 is because the tournament was supposed to take place last year. So the Asian Games were supposed to take place every 4 years in 2022, but they're now taking place in 2023 due to COVID, which means that the AFC then said, okay, not an under 23, but an under 24 competition, which means that some of the boys who normally would have not been eligible, Deepak Tangri, Mahesh Singh, Roshan Singh, Lalun Trunga, these guys are suddenly still eligible to play. But on top of those, you can also have three players who are above the age of 23 or above the age of 24 this year. And those three were Gurpreet, Sandesh, and Sunil. That is the most probably the request that the AFF / the government of India made to make the Indian team potentially as strong as possible. So from that perspective, that made sense. But that list, the 22-player list, which now has gone to the organizers, does not contain those three names. So now the AFF president, Kalyan Chaubey, in a statement has come out and said that we would make a special request if those three players could be included. I'm not aware if the organizers in any way would sort of facilitate such a request. And of course, there is the question which nobody seems to be talking about. We are the only ones who've spoken about it on Candid Football Conversations, is the clash of dates in September. You have at the start of September, of course, the issues that the Durand Cup ends. Then you directly have the under-23 Asian qualifiers. Then you have also in parallel India playing in the Kings Cup. You then have, of course, the Asian Games starting on the 19th of September. But around that date, 18th to 20th, you have the AFC Champions League, which means Mumbai City is playing in that. AFC Cup, which is Mohun Bagan Supergiant / Odisha FC. There are 7-8 players in that list who could be part of those respective squads. And of course, the ISL also starting on the 22nd of September. And I've been speaking to people and I've heard from nobody in the background that conversations actually have happened about these issues and squad lists have just been announced. So I'd be really, really interested to see how these kind of issues get sorted, because I find it great that we've put a lot of emphasis and focus on international football, but we cannot put the whole emphasis on international football and forget club football on the side. Or, TK, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. You have to take a stand on that. And that's the question is, okay, we're putting focus on the Asian Games, but are we not supposed to put focus on the Champions League and the AFC Cup as well?
Yeah. Well, I think that's definitely a conversation we're going to have in the next week or so. But Arunava, what do you made of the entire situation? Because now if Sunil, Gurpreet and Sandesh don't go, how do you look at this squad? Do you think it's a good thing for them that they don't have these senior pros with them? Or are you looking at it and saying it's always good to have the senior guys and they can obviously rub off on the juniors and in such a big tournament? What do you make of the entire situation?
There are two sides to the story, in my opinion. On one side, we know the qualities of these players. No one will question Sunil, Sandesh, or Gurpreet in an India shirt. These guys have shown it not once, twice. They've been showing it for many, many years. And they're amongst, the biggest players that India's actually had over the decades. That's the one side of the story. Sunil being there, Sunil is the natural leader, and he's got to sort of say these two sort of support vice captains, so to say, in Gurpreet and Sandesh potentially there. On the other side, if I look at from the developmental side of things, why not send a team without those three? Because, especially when it comes to the striker's position, we have to think beyond Sunil. And we did not utilize in the senior national team the opportunity of trying to play without Sunil. That is something that could be used as an opportunity. I mean, we've called up for the Asian Games, if it stays as it currently is, Rahim Ali, Shiva Shakti, and Vikram Pratap. And especially Shiva Shakti is someone who I'd love to see in an attacking position and see how he does. Rahim Ali, of course, has played for the under-23s in the past, in the last qualifiers as well. And Vikram Pratap has when he's got his chances, has also shown what potential he has. I think it's important for these players, also for players like Jhingan, for Apuya, to take leadership, to be there. So therefore, that is going to be an interesting one. Is who do I pick? Why do I pick them? And and again, who stays in the squad? So that whole discussion still has to be had. And again, if you can't pick certain players, I'm just going through the list. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players out of the 22 are from Mumbai City, Mohun Bagan, and Odisha FC. So that those are kind of issues, and therefore I think there's a bigger discussion which needs to be had on this, which again has not happened, but I hope it will happen so that these kind of problems don't crop up. A lot of problems are cropping up at the moment in the last second, because I sometimes say it's a lack of foresight. So hope these things get sorted.
Yeah. Well, Arunava, given the fact that the list is what it is right now, who among the three strikers do you think Igor Stimac will go with in the Asian Games?
I potentially could see him play with Rahim Ali up front.
Yeah.
He was a little he was critical about Shiva Shakti joining the camp in the summer. So therefore, I don't know how much trust he has in Shiva Shakti. Vikram has played little. I think he's played little to nothing or trained little or nothing under Igor Stimac. So that's another factor as well to see. But again, this giving those boys opportunities, I think, is important. And those three matches, again, especially the one against China, that's a real test. Even against Bangladesh and Myanmar, those three matches are going to be good. And if we can get 1 or 2 more matches in the competition, even better. So therefore, it is important that especially our strike force gets that experience, even though, even our defense has got a lot of players who have that international exposure. So therefore, for these kids, I'm sorry, I'm calling kids, but for these men, I should rather say, it's important that the exposure factor is certainly there.
Yeah. I don't know if these three guys are not going to the Asian Games, Sunil, Gurpreet, and Sandesh. Who would you like to see take that above 23, fill in that above 23 category, or above 24 in this case?
Ishan Pandita for sure.
Or no, would you not use it at all? Like, again, that's an option obviously that we have.
I think I would try and give Ishan Pandita some time. I think for him that would be good, because he's sort of our number B option in the national team. So therefore, if Ishan could get some time, that would be great for him. Otherwise, why not stick to the squad? Because again, we come back to the same set of players. We're talking about players from Mohun Bagan, from Mumbai City, or from Odisha, who we're going to mainly look at. Popal Chempa could be someone, but again, Popal Chempa Champions League. So therefore, it will be very interesting to see who really gets picked up, who does not get picked up. But I would stick to an under-23 squad. I think some of the nations also are playing with under-21s. So therefore, from that side, it is something which could work. So therefore, give these boys that exposure, let them play, get in those minutes, because some of these boys will also be part of our AFC Asian Cup squad. So exposure. That's what has been sort of the mantra of the AFF. And again, especially younger players, bench players, could do with that exposure. So yeah, let's see what we can get out of these boys.
So one final question, Arunava. Given the tight schedule that these youngsters will be seeing, some of them with their ISL clubs, how do you think they'll be able to manage their workload? Do you think it'll be a little too much for them?
We saw that in June and July, towards the end, semis and in the finals. Not only India, but you also saw it with Lebanon, especially, but also to some extent Kuwait. A lot of matches in a short span of time. So you have to shuffle your squad. I think it's not about 11 or 15 players. It's, if you can utilize your squad properly and give the boys that exposure and utilize those boys properly, that would be perfect. There are some boys who are coming out of injuries. Deepak Tangri has been out for a while. I saw him in Bangalore, trying to get fit. Same can be said about Amarjit Kiam as well. So therefore, some of these boys have been out for some while. Others are hopefully going to be able to prove themselves at this international level. I think that's something of an opportunity for them. Mahesh Naurem has been one of those who's impressed anyone and everyone with whatever he's done for the Indian national team in the recent weeks and months. So therefore, there are a number of these boys who can potentially show what they're made of, what they can play, and that makes it interesting. That makes this squad so interesting because it's got a lot of these boys, of course, who have had the experience of playing in the Under-17 World Cup, with Rahim Ali, Aniket Jadhav, Jeekson, Amarjit, Suresh, Puya, all these guys, so therefore, it's actually at that level, it's quite an experienced squad at international level. A lot of these boys have played the last AFC Under-23 Asian Cup qualifiers as well in 2021. So therefore, it's a good team. It's a good team with potential. If you add those three that we've been speaking about, and Gurpreet, Sandesh, and Sunil, it makes it even stronger. But maybe this squad might be good to go in the way that they are. It's, again, how much of time of preparation they'll get. Because, again, this is an older squad than the Under-23 squad, which will play the qualifiers. So, therefore, there is a little bit of juggling here and there with certain players coming in, moving out. And it'll be interesting to see. And I hope whichever team plays, we put up a good show, we play good football, and we get results. And more important, I think, is get results, that we at least get into the round of 16, so that the AFF can go back to the government of India, says thank you very much for supporting us, for allowing the team to go. Hopefully you'll do that in the future as well, because this helps our development. This helps the development of Indian football.
Yeah, Arunava, I'm in complete agreement with you. I think this squad should go without these three big names, and why not give them an opportunity here? When, again, it remains to be seen what happens with this entire situation. So we'll probably be back to talk about it once there are a few more developments. But thanks, Arunava, for this short chat, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon. And as always, like, share, and subscribe SportsKhabri and Arunfoot, and we'll be back with Candid Football Conversations. Bye.